Okay, I think it's a good time to start now that we've given a couple of minutes for everybody to join. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sharpist webinar. I already gave this disclaimer at the beginning of the call, but in case you just joined and you missed the notification, before we start, I would like to kindly remind you to turn off your camera or cover your camera if you don't want to be participating in the recording, because we will record the whole session and also share it with those who cannot join us today at this time. And yeah, what can I say? We're very happy to have you all join us for this wonderful session titled Coaching Tools for Employee Development and Satisfaction. My name is Juan. I am part of the Sharpist team. I am Content Partnerships Lead, and I will be your host this afternoon. I am very excited. I'm thrilled to be joined by very special guests, two very special guests, and I would like to start right away and introduce you to them. The first guest I'm going to introduce is Samir Keck. He is the head of people and culture here at Sharpist. And alongside his experience leading teams at Zalando and at Flixbus, he is also a leadership coach and trainer himself with over 12 years of consulting experience. I think you can see him now. His video is on.
Hi.
And finally, last but not least, we also have Bärbel Kress joining us today. She has been an executive coach for over 28 years, and she also has extensive executive and consulting experience with companies like BMW, Capgemini, and McKinsey. Hi, Bärbel.
Hi, Juan. Yeah, a warm welcome also from my side. Yeah, and some sunny greetings from Scotland.
Thank you. Now that we've introduced ourselves briefly, we would also like to get to know you all a little bit better. So we have prepared a little poll. We would like to know if you've had experience with coaching so far, so we can tailor the content of the presentation to suit your information needs a little bit better. So now Shoshana has put the poll on the screen for everybody. And the question is very simple. What best describes your experience with coaching? You can only select one option, and it can either be I am or have been working with HR in the past, I am or have been a coach, I am or have been a coachee, I've been several of those, or I've been none. Please take 15 seconds, 20 seconds to write down your answer. All right, let's see the results. Let's start by order of magnitude. So 53% of the attendees are or have been coachees. That is great. Probably means that we won't have to go too much into details of the ins and outs of coaching, but we still have very good content prepared on that topic. We also see that 27% of you have been or are several of those. Very interesting. 13% of you are or have been coaches, and 7% have been or are working in HR. Very good. I think the fact that none of you have not been any of those makes it all the easier for us, because we know what we're talking about and we can get right to it. So thank you everybody for participating and for joining us again. Let's go through the agenda for today. As you can see, first, I will give you a very brief introduction to Sharpist and to today's topic. We're going to speak about how people development can be leveraged as a tool for growth in modern organizations. Samir is then going to take over, and then he's going to share his experience with coaching as a practice for becoming a better leader. And then Bärbel will conclude this session by sharing specific coaching methods and tools for leaders and for everybody to develop their own skills and how to motivate their teams. I would like to remind you to please, if you have any questions or ideas you want to share, do not hesitate to write them in the chat. We can either answer them immediately or leave them for the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. So I say, let's jump right to it. I'm going to talk to you a bit about empowering employees through coaching. Many roads lead to growth. That means that there is not a single way to drive growth as an organization. Typically, we would think about growth strategies like organic expansion, let's say with a new product line or with opening other offices, strategic partnerships in order to reach untapped market segments, merging with the competition or acquiring a competitor, or optimizing towards operational intelligence. All of those are fantastic growth strategies, but we believe that people development is the main strategy with which an organization can ensure long-term growth and with which they can ensure that they instill a growth culture into their company DNA. And unfortunately, that seems to be the road less traveled. I say unfortunately because people development and personalized learning programs have many benefits for individuals. For example, we see increases in productivity and increases in performance of up to 88% of people development programs that combine competency training with coaching. We also see a 62% higher workforce engagement compared to companies with no programs in place. And most importantly to this session is higher employee satisfaction. Issues around mental health remain the most common cause of long-term and short-term absences. They amount to a little bit over 50% of all lost working days. So employee well-being programs like coaching significantly improve your company's culture and specifically your employees' ability to lead a healthy working life. And when all of these people development benefit the individual, companies gain competitive advantages. Organizations that have satisfied and motivated workers see 21% higher profits because basically employees have the tools to put their best work forward. And finally, engaged employees who feel connected to their company, to its purpose, and to their colleagues have a higher job satisfaction and thus are more likely to remain at their company. And that is an extremely high benefit because the cost of losing an employee can be up to twice their yearly salary. And so you might wonder, how do you unleash the power of people development? And the key to that is coaching. The key is coaching because it facilitates effective long-term professional development and growth throughout an organization and not just to a few individuals. Through coaching, leaders help themselves and others recognize their natural talents and develop them into strengths, all the while acknowledging and neutralizing weaknesses. Simply put, successful leaders create more successful leaders. And personalized coaching can help leaders and their teams develop the strategies they need in order to communicate better, in order to increase their performance and increase their motivation, and to cultivate a growth and performance culture throughout. And that's exactly what we're here to help with. Sharpist is the outcome-driven digital learning platform for employee growth. We offer tailored coaching solutions for your people, and they're based on 3 main pillars. The first one is one-to-one video coaching with top certified business coaches. The second one is personalized learning with microtasks taken from an extensive content library of over 30,000 pieces of learning content. And finally, state-of-the-art reporting technology that allows companies to track their learners' progress and the entire organization's progress at every point. I think that's enough about us and about the topic. I would like to then hand over to Samir, who is going to talk about how coaching helps him become a better lead.
Thank you, Juan, for the intro. So if you have been in a leadership role yourself, and please click to the next slide, or you're supporting leaders, you know that one of the core challenges is that we have like a lot of things to do at the same time. I could focus on the team strategy, and team could be like it's a 5 or 10 people team, or it could mean my whole area or even my own company if I'm in the role of a CEO. I could do this the whole day or the whole working week and still feel like, okay, there is much more to do. There are projects which are cross-team we need to drive for our area or for our company, and I could still focus the whole time just on those cross-team projects. And looking at all those tasks and all those responsibilities and accountabilities, the core challenge is to really focus on those ones which are needed right now at the moment. And one part is of my accountability as a leader is supporting the growth of the people I'm working for. And also this part, I could spend like the whole working week just focusing on individual growth. And individual growth is something like it's so inherent to us as human beings. If you have children or if you watch children, you don't need to tell them how to learn how to walk or how to learn how to speak. It's something they naturally do because we're designed to learn. And therefore, this learning is very much connected to our satisfaction and how we feel as human beings in the organization we are in. Click, please. And we know learning takes time. It's not something we can do like 1 hour a week, and then we empowered our employee and the person learns and it's done. It's a checkbox and we can do it done. We chose here the pyramid of Robert Dilts as an example. And I have a professional sports background. So if I look at this and I want to do sports, if I'm on the behavioral level, okay, I want to do it like every second day because I want to become healthy. Do I have the skills for it? The skills determine if my behavior is stable or able to do that, what I'm wanting to do. I might have the skills, then it's easier for me to do. If I don't have the skills to be determined to do sports, like it gets a lot more challenging. Now, if it's part of my belief system and my values, it gets even easier. If it's not part of my belief systems and my values, I'm somehow fighting against these values I'm having for myself constantly, and it makes it more challenging. So if I believe that I'm not a sporty person, like it always will take me, effort to do my sports. But if I believe and I identify myself, yeah, I'm a sportsman, that makes it very, very easy for all those things to fall apart. So we see that the development of human beings is like determined to how deep we can go. Now, as a lead, it might not be my entitlement to go deep with everybody I'm working with. And I might not be the right person. If you click, please. Very often, I'm getting into a leadership role because I'm promoted because of my skills, my professional skills, and my results. So when I was working in sales for 5 years, the new sales leader was the person with the best sales results, not the one with the highest skills of empowering or supporting people in their learning journey, which is somehow natural part of the story. But it makes me as a leader, giving me this task or this accountability to support my people's growth, and I might not have the competencies. And coaching is not just something you can easily do. There are some competencies behind. There's some learning you can do to become a professional coach in order to be able to really support your people. So there's a limit in the depth I can go as a lead, and there might be a limit in my competencies. And if you click, thank you. We see also that there's a trend. There's a lot of buzzword and like strange trends happening around new work and making everything agile, but also there is a true part in it that our organizations have been designed in a way we designed organizations 1 or 2 centuries ago. And we're still following that trade. And now we're understanding that human collaboration is actually based on different skills, on different collaboration methods and different collaboration cultures. And moving into this new collaboration cultures to be more effective and also to have more engaged people working with us, we see that self-organization, new work, agile, however you would call it or frame it, is becoming like a bigger part of our organizations. And in this part, we also see and hear very often, yeah, leader as a coach or coaching skills are required as a lead. Now, if you click, thank you. Now, what we see that learning is inherent for me as a human being. It's something like really, really important also for being happy at my workplace. The second thing we see that as a lead, I might not be entitled to really go deep with my employees, and I might miss the skills. So as a lead, I have, for example, a coach from the side supporting the learning journey of my people. They can go more deep on certain topics, and they might be even able to open up much more easily with a coach who's not their direct boss, because there are also some power dynamics into play. They might not want to show their weaknesses or like, yeah, I did a mistake, but actually I don't want to tell my boss. Those things I don't want to go deep. So it might be easier to collaborate with a coach. I build a trust relationship and know this coach is not feeding back the feedback and giving me a performance evaluation on things where I really want to honestly learn. So to me as a lead, I can never delegate the accountability fully to an external coach and say like, okay, we have a coach now, this person is responsible for my people growth, I'm out of the game. But it can be a super great support for me in my role, having a coach supporting my people's growth. They can follow up on topics, they can go deep. It's, to me, as a great support as a leader. And the second part, as a leader myself, In the last role, I worked at Flixbus, and my lead was Daniel Kraus, the CIO. Now at Sharpist, the CEO is my lead. And of course, they don't hire me to have like a big learning journey. They also hire me to getting things done. They don't want to hold my hand. They want to get the job done. That's why they hired me. So the support I'm getting, if you're like going into a different hierarchical level, is getting sometimes a little bit less. There is like this thought or the belief very often that as a leader, I'm responsible for my own learning journey. I'm establishing my own learning path, my own supporting system around me in order to learn. And this is where I also get like my personal benefit from having a coach at my side who's going deep on me on different topics of the organization, but also on my personality level. So it's a support for my people, taking parts of my accountability or also supporting parts of my accountability. And it's a support for me as a leader where there's not a huge support system and the thought of, yeah, it's first time lead, you get a lot of support and education around, but actually you have the experience, Samir, now do it. And with this expectation, how do I get support? This could be an external coach as well. To me personally, it's helping a lot. And I'm very honored to like not have it like fluffy words, but have actually the real coach I'm collaborating with the last 6 months here with me, which is Bärbel. I want to pass the ball to you around our common coaching experience, supporting me as a lead on this journey currently.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Samir. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here and to talk to you about coaching tools, because I think coaching is really a great opportunity to grow. And I've experienced it myself. Of course, I had coaching myself and I was a leader myself. So I know how it feels to deal with all these leadership topics. And coming back to the pyramid that Samir just showed, the Dilts Pyramid, which is a really good coaching tool. In fact, yeah, I use it very often when coaching starts, for example, because you can discuss very easily what are the levels that coaching tackles most of the time, and what are the levels that you as a client, you want to develop or where you want to have some changes. And often we start at the top. So where is identity or the questions of role? What is my role? Yeah. What is my identity as a leader? And how does my leadership role fit together with all the other roles in my life? And do I really want to be a leader? These are all questions that we deal with in coaching. In fact, at the moment, I have a client that is exactly at this point. He is a very experienced expert in diesel engines. And as this part of the industry is now declining, he has to rethink his role. And the company thought, he's also good in leadership, yeah, and he promoted him in a leadership role, which he's absolutely not comfortable with. So we talk about his role, but also then about the values. What is important for him in his life, in his work? What are the skills he would have to develop when he stays in the leadership role? What is the behavior that he should show? And so on and so on. So this is a great tool to start the coaching process. The good thing about coaching is that it is a very individual and very specific way to develop people. Coaching is goal-oriented. So whenever we start a coaching process, there will be a definition or discussion about your personal development needs, your wishes, and then we can start the process. Leadership coaching is one of my focus areas. And when I think of all the leaders that I have worked with in the last years, on all the different hierarchical levels, top management to project leaders, maybe, they all face a certain challenge. And maybe you can, yeah, thank you very much. Their leadership challenge is that on the one hand side, they're expected to be great leaders, yeah, empower their employees, have to lead teams, big teams, programs in the organization. They have to empower them to deal with stress. They have employees that needs to strengthen their resilience. And on the other hand, they are expected to be excellent in self-leadership as well. So I had a client who worked in a Japanese company, and one day he kicked a wheelie bin, a roll container. The company was very happy with his performance, but this was a no-go. And this was where our coaching process started, because they said, yeah, as a leader here, as a really top, on the top management level, you should be able to manage your emotions. Other leaders deal more with the questions, which you can see on the slide here. How do I develop my own career? Yeah, what is my career about? Where do I want to go? Do I want to follow that ladder that I'm on, or do I have to change somewhere? How do I cope with stress? Yeah, how to be more resilient? I think especially in the last 1-2 years, maybe that's also your experience, yeah. In the last years, many of our clients have felt really pressured and drained due to the pandemic. And then there was homeschooling and home office and delivery issues. Well, sometimes there was too much delivery, yeah. I worked with somebody from a transport company and they had so much to do. It was unbelievable. So you need a lot of energy to deal with your own issues and with your team. Yeah, so this will be often the first thing that we deal with in coaching, how to manage your energy and the energy of your team, and which you can see on the next slide. I thought about what can I show you, because that's a broad topic, and I brought with me some tools that a coaching client of mine used in a team workshop with her team members. For example, you see the personal stress indicator over there, this little thermometer. And the question here is, you may want to take a moment and ask yourself, yeah, where are you with regard to this thermometer? Are you in the blue zone, which means you are completely calm, everything is fine, yeah? Are you relaxed? So this would be the blue zone. The red zone is the opposite. Life is very difficult and you feel stressed, completely restless and without any power. So where are you at the moment? And do you know what to do to lower your stress level? Maybe you've got some strategies or you have got some tools yourself to manage your own stress level. Maybe, yeah, you need a coach, or maybe you need your boss to help you with it. The coaching client that I talked about right now used also the little battery down there where it says energy balance. Because the next question is, when dealing with stress, is what are the drainers in your life? In your work life, what really takes energy? And this might be very individual, but there might be also some team issues that you have to deal with as the team manager. And on the other hand, what are the resources that really gives you energy? One of the most important issues in coaching is called resource activation. This is because whatever you do in life, you need energy, you need resources to go for it. In our Sharpist microtask database, yeah, library, there are, I don't know how many, there are 30,000, you said. There are a lot of different tools and articles, videos, models, yeah, that you can use to deal with stress and how to manage the challenges in your working life. In a coaching session last week, I used the little graph here on the right-hand side, where you can see the level of different level of challenges, yeah, from low to high. This is where the pressure comes up, and on the other hand, you see skill levels. And we discussed this graph, and yeah, and it was an aha moment for the client to see, okay, I've got more than one lever to reduce my stress level. I can deal with the challenges, which is often not possible, yeah? You might be able to do something on the challenge that you face, but maybe you have to accept it. But you can do something on the skill level and then go from anxiety to flow, which would be great. Yeah. People build great businesses, but only when they feel fit and powerful and when they are resilient. This is another buzzword, and I'd like to show quickly what it is all about, because this is also something that we talk about in coaching. Coaching clients use the word, but they don't know exactly what is it about. Yeah, resilience means, for example, that you bring your perception back to the here and now, that you're not stuck in the past or always in the future. No, you can be in the here and now, and you manage your life, and you see also the positive aspect of it. You can form trustful relationships. Yeah, you have orientation, you can enable solutions, you live a healthy lifestyle, and you have some kind of self-efficacy. Because when you've got it, then you know what is important in your life. You know your values, your strength, your resources, and you know what brings meaning into your life. And this is also an important part. Some people in some companies, maybe also the company you're working for, they deal a lot of, or they work with Simon Sinek's golden circle. And they start with why. Yeah, why is our company here on this earth? And they try to communicate, starting with the why and then coming to the how and to the what. But this leads employees, coaching clients almost directly to the question, what is the why in my life? What is the meaning in my life? And is there a meaning in my work? Meaningful work can be very motivating, as one already mentioned, and can lead to better performance, to engagement, to satisfaction. And employees feel their work is meaningful when they perceive an authentic connection between their work and something broader, a broader transcendent purpose in life beyond the self sometimes. Yeah. As always, there are different ways to tackle this question when a coaching client brings it up in coaching. I brought with me the Ikigai concept, which you might know, maybe also not. Ikigai is the Japanese word. It's more a concept than just a word, for reason for being. Iki means life in Japanese, and gai means value or meaning. Your Ikigai is your purpose in life. And many people find a strong reason for being in their professional role, their professional life, and they want to find it there. I find it, for example, in coaching, and this is a really, really good feeling. So to talk about meaning, value, purpose is a very, very big issue in coaching. Yeah, and when we talk about meaning, then we also talk about values that guide you through your life. I work with this, what you see here. These are the cross-cultural universal values that are developed by Professor Schwartz, but there are different other models that you can use. And with Samir, we work with the Wheel of Life, yeah, which is an assessment tool that helps individuals and teams to increase performance level and engagement and energy. And yeah, Samir, you said that we work together. Maybe you want to share a little bit of your coaching, and how was it? How did the work on values help you in your personal development?
Yes. What I'm doing since several years is that I'm doing a reflection moment instead of doing New Year's resolutions. I'm looking at my life and I'm giving it like different dimensions, a score from 1 to 10. How happy am I with those dimensions? One dimension I choose is relationship, one is family, one is sports, one is finance, like different dimensions I chose. And I discovered in December I did it, that my wheel of life from 2021 looked nearly 100% the same from 2020. And I didn't look at the 2021 to not be influenced by it. And when I looked at both, I was a little bit shocked, like, oh, I knew that there is the area of sports where I'm feeling like a 3 out of 10. And yeah, I didn't do anything the whole year. It's like, and I brought it to my coaching with Bärbel. And we took more than an hour to dive deeper on that, because sports to me does mean a lot more. When I was in the 20s, I got up at 6:30 to do jogging training before I went to work. And after work, I did some sports before I went to the sports training. So that was zero effort for me to get up at 6:30 to do my running exercises in the morning. if I think about it now, getting up at 6:30 to do some running exercises, I feel like, no, no way. And somehow I was missing this feeling and this power and this drive and this, I would say, dedication. And when we dive deep on that, I understood that it's not only this dedication and this power and drive on sports, but also it's affecting other general parts in my life. And we found like several steps in order to reconnect to that energy and to identify what it really is, and to establish it step by step back into my life. And it looks like maybe a very personal topic. I would not have used it with my boss. You know, I don't feel like in my whole wheel of life, the sports part is on a 10. Would be like, Samir, okay, I don't know how I support you as your leader in this now. So with Bärbel, I could do it. And I see the effect it has on my life, and not only on my private life, but also then on my professional life. And that's an example on how coaching supports me as a lead, but also as a human being in my job, I would say.
Yeah, and it's a great example to show that personal and professional development are so intertwined. Yeah, so that sometimes you do a little loop in the personal life, but you come back and transfer it on the professional role, which gets even better. Thank you, Samir, for sharing. You know that coaching is confidential. Yeah. There is so much we could share with you about coaching and how to develop people and improve their satisfaction. Maybe let me finish with a statement that I often heard in the last years from coaching clients, and they said that coaching gave them space and the room to deal with their own topics, together with a coach they trust, but they found the time to really work on these issues that in daily life you forget about them, or you simply don't have the time, maybe also the calm to really to work on it. And this is why I love coaching so much. Coaching is really it's kind of room for development. It's a great tool for development. Juan.
Thank you very much, Bärbel and Samir. I really love the last example that you used with the wheel of life, because it really shows how, as you said, coaching can help with personal and professional development in a way that people feel more empowered and feel that they have the agency over what they do and are able to motivate themselves and also lead by example and motivate others. So thank you very much, both of you, for sharing your experiences. We can now open the floor for questions. You can feel free to add them in the chat. You can also raise your hand if you want to ask a question. We need to click in order to allow you to speak if you would like, but otherwise just feel free to write it down in the chat.
Maybe you've said it all.
I think it's been very complete. I think it's very complete. In that case, if I think we've shared everything that we wanted to share, I have to thank you once again, Bärbel, for bringing this whole arsenal of tools with you to the session, and also to you, Samir, for giving your experience both as a leader and as a coach, and having coached people and also having received coaching. I think it's very valuable. So we have a question. Will you share these slides, please? We can share them after the talk. And Alyssa asks, thank you for the talk. Is there any other tools besides the wheel of life? I'm sure they are. If you could be a little bit more specific, it would be great. But are there similar tools like the wheel of life that you could imagine, Bärbel, would be relevant for someone? Yeah,
what I use, for example, is not the wheel of life. It is the wheel circle, from Schwartz, Werterad, it's called in German, So this is also often very helpful. The Ikigai is also a tool that you can use to go deeper in the meaning or purpose topic. When you tell me what question what specific issue you want to tackle, then maybe I can come up with a tool. There are loads of.
Yeah. Well, I hope that helps, Alyssa. And if you have a more specific question or a specific topic that you would like to go into, feel free to contact us. We're going to share some links and some contact information after the presentation. Tanya also has a question. She asks if we have any suggestions on valuable ways to share feedback with the leader of the person being coached.
To share feedback about the coaching with the leader of the person being coached, is that right?
I think that's right. Yes, Tanya says yes.
Yes, also in the end of the coaching process, there is often, mostly, when the company wants it, then there's a kind of feedback session in the end. Then it's not my role as the coach to give the feedback, but before the feedback session, the coaching client and I, we discuss how that feedback could be shared. And a lot of coaching clients, they are happy to talk about their coaching and what they took out of it. And I think it's a good way to finish the journey together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I want to add that, for example, all of our employees, they get coaching, and the highest value for us, or for me, is then also that they have this safe space and also the trust relationship. So there is no contact between the coaches and me on a daily basis or something like that. But often the employees, they bring it back, and let's say every 2 weeks I hear, in my coaching I learned, or through my coaching I'm aware of this, I want to work on that. Samir, can you support me on this as my lead, because in my coaching I found out. So usually people bring it also back themselves.
Thank you for pointing that out, Samir. Mareike, I agree with you. Stuart has also a question. I think this is an interesting one. I think for both of us, Samir. How can we best convince business leaders that see no value in coaching?
I can. I would say let them be coached. If you experience it yourself, then you have a different perception. And I think I'm using coaching as a coachee, so getting coached since around 20 years, 18 years. And it helped me starting as a student, like over my whole career and all over my life. And I had different coaches. And with some, I felt like, you know, a direct connection. I felt the value. And some coaches, I felt like, okay, we're not on the same page. I'm not getting the support. I don't getting the value out of it. So it's a very personal relationship. But if you have a coach where you feel like, bam, that works, you see the value, like experiencing it yourself. That's like a good way to start, I would say.
Yeah,
that's a great answer. I agree with you, Stuart, and with you, Samir. We have another question. I think this is for you, Bärbel. Can anyone use these tools that you've presented without training, in scare quotes?
There are some that are easy to use, the Libettery, for example. The Schwartz, the Werterad, and the Ikigai are described in a book, in fact, which is called Stay Creative, very specific, and what you do, what you have to say. So, but it's unfortunately only in German. Sometimes you need a little training, and sometimes it's good to have it done with yourself, because then you really got a feeling for the tool as well.
Okay, thank you, Bärbel. I think since we are reaching the end of the allotted time for this webinar, we can cut it to here. Thank you, everybody, for participating, for writing your questions, for writing your feedback. We've seen some very nice comments. Thank you very much. If you would like to learn more about Sharpist, as we're writing here in the chat, you can have, or if you have an individual question, if you would like to learn more about coaching, you can book a call via the link here in the chat. As you know, we've been through this whole presentation. I think you've been able to have a small peek into the Sharpist experience for a lead, for a learner, and also from the perspective of one of our over 1,000 coaches, a very special one, though. So as I said, if that sparked your interest, if you are generally interested in coaching, and if you would like to know more about what we can do for your organization, schedule a chat with one of our colleagues. We are going to paste, or we already pasted the link in the chat, the Calendly link.